Hello. For starters, I hate this lighting probably as much as you do. I this the lighting that I have right now is literally it's just my overhead light up there. Like I don't have any kind of like studio lighting. I mean, I've tried a couple things with this room. It's just when there's no like natural daylight, like you've seen videos in this room during the daytime. It's nighttime right now, so there's no like natural source of light. I like the lighting in this room so much better in during the daytime when there's natural light coming in. Because when it's all artificial light, it's all kind of warm and gross. And unfortunately, today I did not have time to film during the day because I had a paper due at midnight. It's like 10:30 now, and I turned my paper in a bit ago, and then I just took some time to take a breather because this was a big like research presentation, and then the which I turned in the presentation part today, and then the full research paper is due on Friday. So that's where I kind of am right now. But in terms of writing, I actually have been doing pretty good. I'm at 3,500 words right now, which I know for most people is not a lot, but it's a lot for me. It's a lot for me. I've been writing about twice a week. I've been getting better about tuning in to live write-ins. I wish this is like the only time I wish I like had a large audience, because if I had a large audience, I could justify doing live write-ins like myself on my own channel, but I don't. And I'm totally like in literally every other aspect, I'm fine with that. Like I don't need a million eyes on that. I like eyes on me or my channel, which especially because I'm studying to be an actor, that sounds weird and counterintuitive. But I don't know, I've never been a person who's like wanted to be like in the spotlight or the forefront of things. Even as an actor, I've always been okay like not having the lead role or whatever. So yeah, but live write-ins have really been motivating me to get writing done, and I have been a lot better about tuning into them now that I am stuck in my house. And obviously there's still a couple that I do have to miss just because they're going on when I have during my class time. But like I said, I've been getting a lot better about attending them. I even got shouted out a couple times when Jessica and Kate had their live stream last week, which was super cool. So yeah, so live write-ins have been getting me to do writing, and like I said, I really wish I could like host my own. That'd be super cool to do one day, but I really do not have an audience to do that, and I also like don't have the connections to like partner up and live write in with somebody who does. So yeah, so that's kind of where I am, but at least I'm getting writing done. That's the good part. That's what matters at the end of the day, really. It's also made me realize I haven't really talked about what I'm writing at all. So I mentioned that for this Camp NaNoWriMo, I'm not like working on an original work that in some nebulous universe might one day be publishable. I'm just writing fan fiction, which I have not written consistently in a long time. I used to write fan fiction a lot in high school. Probably around like sophomore, junior year. It was like, it was kind of like a time like this where, because I had just like transferred high schools, so I didn't have any friends really, and I was just kind of like in this sort of transitional period of my life where I was kind of lost, and I turned to fan fiction to sort of like be an outlet and be something to fill my time when I was alone in my house. And now I'm in kind of a similar place in my life right now, where I'm about to graduate college, but I had post-graduation plans, But now, because of everything going on, those plans are very much up in the air. And I am stuck in my house alone all the time once again. So yeah, I feel like I turn to fan fiction in those periods of my life, and I think this is one of them. So yeah, so it's been interesting getting back to it, and what I am writing is a Star Wars fan fiction, which, as a woman talking about Star Wars, I should probably be very careful about how I voice my opinion on things. I don't know. A good friend of mine is currently stuck in Navy boot camp during the coronavirus, and because he's still technically in boot camp, even though like he's technically done with everything, it's just because the base is like sheltering in place. He still doesn't have his phone, so we can only communicate through letters. Because, like I said, he's not allowed to have his phone or any kind of like internet. He can't watch the new season of the Clone Wars, and I like was writing about it to him in a letter. I don't know how relevant this is to. I don't know how much of you guys watch Star Wars. Please tell me if you do. But I was talking to him about the new season, and I was like telling him some of my opinions about it. And I mean, I know him pretty well, but at the same time, like, there's a part of my defensive brain that's like, should you really be voicing your opinions? Because who knows, the next letter you get from him in like a week from now will be him, I know Star Wars better than you. I've encountered that quite a few times in my life as a Star Wars fan. So yeah, so my sort of like fan fiction about Star Wars is sort of this concept. The way I pitch, my elevator pitch for it is sort of, if Anton Chekhov wrote Star Wars, which probably means nothing to nobody except me. So if you don't know, Anton Chekhov is a Russian playwright who wrote plays, I think mainly in the late 19th, 20th century, I want to say. But yeah, he was a Russian playwright, and he wrote things like The Seagull and The Cherry Blossom and Three Sisters. And he wrote a lot about sort of kind of class structure, particularly about the Russian aristocracy, which was during his lifetime in a period of decline, and the Russian middle class, which was currently rising before this was before like the Bolshevik Revolution and all that. So yeah, so my fan fiction, which takes place, again, don't know how many people who watch me also know what Star Wars is, so this might mean nothing, but please indulge me for a moment. My fanfiction takes place during the sequel trilogy, so those are like the three movies that came out more recently, so that'd be Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and then the one that just came out, Rise of Skywalker. And it's about the First Order, who's kind of our, well, they're not really, because oh god, I'm realizing like how much explaining needs to happen for some, like, I'm just assuming you don't know anything about Star Wars, but then having to explain like how the universe of Star Wars is actually a lot more complicated than I realized. It's just like, oh yeah, Empire, First Order, bad guys. Okay, so the Empire, which came before the First Order, which is sort of like which wasn't like a galactic empire that ruled for, I think, like 30-40 years, let's say. There is still, in my fan fiction, there's still sort of an imperial aristocracy from that period who are now officers within the First Order, who's kind of, who is trying to succeed them, and is also trying to emulate them in a way, like really emulate them. And the First Order is trying to prop up this old, aging, dying imperial aristocracy, but the First Order idolizes them and kind of sees them as something they never really were, and is trying to restore like the old aristocracy, or at least keep it alive. and then the resistance or the rebellion is sort of the equivalent of the rising middle class, which in modern sensibility, we never really think of the middle class as rising, especially in America. But I think it's sort of like optimistic to think of the middle class as rising, especially right now. And also, especially the resistance is sort of like coded as being a lot more diverse, and more accepting than the First Order. That's definitely like a Disney thing. Although, like I said, I should be careful about how much I talk about Star Wars. So yeah, so that's what I'm writing. And in case you couldn't tell, I'm like very passionate about it. And it is honestly what is keeping me going. As sort of everything else just kind of falls apart around me. Like, I hate to say it, and it sounds kind of dramatic, but just so much is uncertain in my life right now, as I'm sure is very uncertain in a lot of other people's lives. Probably even more so. I mean, I'm talking about like my post-graduation job, but at the same time, like, there could be people who like have lost their job right now, who are struggling like right now. Like, I'm talking like months off, but there are definitely people who like need help like immediately right now, which is why like I talked about it, I think, in one of my previous videos. But I'm glad like people like Jacksepticeye, and I know like more traditional celebrities are doing all these like fundraisers. I know my friend wanted me and my other friend to watch the Disney sing-along on ABC a couple nights ago. That was really fun. I did not watch it on a television because my family would kill me. But yeah, I'm sorry if this is just kind of a sit-down video. All of the footage I filmed this week went into my day as an online student video. That was the video that was posted previous. I'll post a link in the description if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, what's been going on with me this week. I'm sorry it isn't more interesting. I wish I had, like, I had been planning this Camp NaNoWriMo to have been in my dorm. So I was thinking before everything happened, going into this Camp NaNoWriMo, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be at my dorm. Like, I can show you me going to classes and me walking around campus and me, like, hanging out on campus where there is a lot more interesting things to see. Like, right now, because my school is, like, Arboretum, there's cherry blossoms blooming, and I'm like, I could like take a cute picture in front of the cherry blossoms, or just even show some footage of me walking through the cherry blossoms, and I can't even go outside now. So yeah, so that's what's my week has been like. You know, there's good to it too. Like, I think one of the reasons of me being so productive is that I'm at home, and like, I mean, I like my mom still insists on doing all my laundry, which like is very nice. And efficiency wise, I guess it makes more sense to just dump everybody's laundry into one load instead of having us do individual loads for each person. But it's also like, I've been doing my laundry on my own for 4 years now. But you know, my mom will always want to be my mom, so like, things like still making me dinner and like doing my laundry is actually very helpful, considering how online classes have just been stressing me out and like how depressed I've been. So yeah, I'm very grateful. So yeah, sorry, I wish this video were more positive, but I hope your writing is going well. I know mine is. Like I said, two days a week of writing might not sound like a lot to most people, but it's a lot to me, and I'm just appreciating the fact that I can get some writing done, you know? So yeah, so I think I'm just gonna end that video here, and thank you for watching.